Hello everyone and welcome back to another Blender beginner tutorial. Today I'm going to be going over a very simple tip or tutorial, just going over how to add multiple materials to a single object. It's very simple, but I think it's something I should cover quickly. So first of all, I'm going to press Shift and then A and bring up my add menu. Then when hovering over mesh, I'm going to left click on cube to add a cube to my scene. Now I'm going to press tab on the keyboard to edit mode, and I'm going to make sure that I've got all my vertices selected. So they will be all selected by default, but if you somehow click somewhere, just make sure you press A so all of them are selected. And as you can see, all my vertices are highlighted in orange. Now I'm going to right click and I'm going to press subdivide, and that will split up our squares into 4 new squares each. I'm going to bring up this little menu on the left hand corner. If you click away, then this menu will disappear, so you might need to press Ctrl Z and do it again if that happens. Now I'm going to increase the number of cuts, and I think I'm going to go with 6. Now I'm going to go back into object mode, and I'm going to left click this viewport shading. Now when I'm in viewport shading, I'm going to come down to my material properties and press plus new. I'm going to leave my base color as it is, turn my roughness value to 0, and I'm going to turn my transmission value to 1. If you're rendering inside of Eevee, make sure to turn on screen space refraction here, and turn on screen space refractions and refraction here in our render properties. Now coming back to my material properties here, I'm going to press the plus button to add a new material. I'm going to create a brand new one. Before I do that, I'm going to click on this material here, and I can either click here to rename, or I can just double click here to name from here. I'm just going to call this glass because that's the sort of material this is, and this one I'm going to call blue light. Now I'm going to pretty much leave all these values as they are, and I'm just going to change the emission value. I'm going to bring that up to its brightest setting. I'll make it this kind of blue color, but I can edit it in a minute. Now, in order to apply a second material to a specific area on my object, I'm going to enter edit mode again, so I'll press tab and then edit mode, and for this example I'm going to enter face select mode, so just press 3 in the keyboard, or you can left click this button here. Now I'm going to left click a face, and then I'm going to first of all turn off this gizmo here, so come down this drop down menu and turn off move so that doesn't get in the way. Then with control held, I'm going to click here. Make sure when you're doing this you have this button called toggle X-ray off, otherwise you might select faces through the mesh. Then I'm going to hold down control again and left click here, and essentially what control left click does is picks the shortest path. I'm now going to follow the same steps on all 4 sides, so I'll come back when I'm done. Now I have all these faces selected, I'm going to press Alt and then E, and then I'm going to press extrude faces along normals. And now you can see when I bring it up like this, it will extrude out, and it will also extrude inward when I bring it in. So I'm going to bring it in slightly to about here. I think that looks quite nice. And now I'm going to assign my second material. So back in this materials property window, I'm going to come up to my blue light, and I'm going to press this button called assign. And now you can see I've assigned a second material to my object. The reason it's having that lighting effect is because this is an emission shader. For example, if I made this glass material just a normal material, the emission would still light up, but it won't be all lit see-through like that. But anyway, I'm going to put my transition back up because that's kind of a result I want, and I'm going to render this image. So I'll quickly add a camera, so I'll go back into object mode by pressing tab, shift A on the keyboard, come down to camera, left click camera, G and then Z to bring it up. I'm going to set my resolution here in output properties to 1920 by 1080. Yours will probably be 1920 by 1080 by default. Then I'm going to bring my camera back, pressing G and X, and now I'm going to press this button here or numpad 0 to go to camera. Now in view, I'll make sure I have camera to view on, and I'll move my camera into position. Then I'll turn it off when I'm done. Then here in render properties, come up to the top, and I'll switch the cycle. Set quite a high render, make sure denoising's on, set all my light paths to 128, direct light to 5, and indirect light to 10. Not really too keen on the result I'm getting, so I'm actually going to change my mind on what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to come back to my cube, I'm going to set the transmission on my glass material to 0. I'm going to move my camera to the right here because I'm going to use this as a thumbnail. I'm now going to set the strength of the surface to 0, and I'll create a little light source as well. So I'll just create a basic point, G and then Z to bring it up. We'll increase the radius to about 10, set the volts to 100, Shift A, go to mesh, create plane, G, Z, -1, scale, and I'm just going to move my plane till its background is completely invisible. Brilliant, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking, so I'm going to go ahead and render my image. So to do that, all we need to do is left click render, and then left click render image. Great, I'll get back to you when it's done. Because of the render time, I decided to change my mind and set my render value to 250, and now I'm going to render the image. Blender just finished rendering this image, and this is the result I got. Hope you all found this useful. I know this was a very quick tip, but hope it was useful nonetheless. I thought it would be a good addition to add to my beginner tutorial playlist. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.